Okay, so we have our first art criticism. On the left-hand side of the screen here, I have the directions that are in the assignment on Schoology, and on the right-hand side, I have the actual file that will open under your document. The first slide, there's only 5, asks you to fill in the title information. That's the artist name, the title, and the date of the artwork. That is always in this title line right up here. So the artist name for this one is going to be Risk. That's his tag that he goes by. The title of this is Street Art. And the date of the artwork is contemporary, meaning it is a currently working artist. It's hard to know the exact dates when it comes to graffiti because you can't really take credit for it. Somebody's got to discover it on the wall or whatever. Go ahead and pause me while you finish filling in that information, and unpause me when you are ready to move on to the Describe section. And welcome back. Let's head over to Describe. For this one, we are going to list 5 things that you see in this artwork. I'm going to actually make this a little bit bigger, just to make that easier for you guys to see. So things that we see in this artwork. If you're looking at the artwork, you might see the word Risk. You might see a crown. You could see bubbles. Oops, apparently I can't spell bubbles today. We have letters such as RIP, MLH, TDT, RBK, ACT. You can see there's outlines. We can talk about the colors that we see. So we see blues and greens and pinks. There's lightning. Okay. So that's more than 5 things. You just have to write at least 5 of those. Again, go ahead and pause me until you finish filling that out, and unpause me when you are ready for the Analyze section. Okay, let's do Analyze. Incomplete sentences this time, so if we look at the directions, incomplete sentences. Explain what types of color and what types of values you see and where you see them. So we want to use our art vocab terms that we've learned from our notes. So we're not just saying, I see pink. Well, what type of color? We've talked about there's different ways to describe the colors. We've talked about primary, secondary. We've talked about complementary colors, monochromatic colors, warm colors, cool colors. For this project, I want you to think about what kind of colors do we have in here. So if we go back to that list, we've got blues, greens, and pinks. So these 2, blues and greens, those are what kind of color? Cool, exactly. So we can say, I'm going to make this bigger again. The background is mostly cool colors, and the foreground / letters are what kind of colors? What kind of color is pink? So pink is a tint of red, and red is what kind of color? If the background is cool, the foreground is warm. It's warm. They're warm colors. Okay. For the second one, I already just kind of gave you the answer. It asked you what types of values are there. What types of values did we talk about? We talked about tints. We talked about shades. We might have talked a little bit about tones, depending on how in-depth we got in that conversation, but I'm pretty sure we just talked about tints and shades. And we talked about the plain hue. If you look at this, do we see tints? Do we see tones? Do we see shades? What do we see? Yeah, we should see the letters have a tint of red, and the background has a shade of, we can call it blue or purple, really. It's kind of like a blue. We'll call it a blue-purple. So it's kind of a mix of the 2. add a period, and you have completed the Analyze section. Go ahead and pause me until you have finished typing all of that in, and unpause me when you are ready for the Analyze section. Okay. I think I just told you wrong. We're going out of the Interpret section. We just finished the Analyze section, but whatever. Scrolling down for the Interpret section here, it says, knowing that risk is a tag or a false name used to mark territory, what do you think the other elements around the name mean? Why did risk add them? So we are ignoring. It's not that he's risk-taking. Like, that's not the point. Risk is just the tag. He is a risk-taking person because he's doing graffiti, but, like, that's not what this artwork is about. He would always put risk no matter what. So we're going to ignore the risk in the middle. We're going to look at everything else except for that. What else is in here? We've got things like crowns, we've got bubbles, we've got RIP, we've got hearts, we've got, it kind of looks like a little halo and little wings, we've got lightning. Like, what does that all mean? What impression does that give you? What does it make you think of? I am not going to write the answer in here for you. I want to know what you think about it. You have to come up with your own interpretation. As long as you support why you think it, you will get all of the points. So go ahead and pause me now while you fill in that Interpret section. Unpause me when you are ready to move on to the Judgment section. All right, welcome back to the last section. This is Judgment. So I want you to decide, is this a piece, aka a graffiti masterpiece? This description right here tells you what a piece is. So a graffiti term piece, short for masterpiece, is used to describe a large, complex, time-consuming, and labor-intensive graffiti painting. It is generally agreed that a painting must have at least 3 colors to be considered a piece, but pieces often incorporate color transitions, shadows, and 3-dimensional effects. So if it has all of these things, then it could be a piece. If it doesn't have all of those things, then it's not a piece. So you need to tell me, do you think this is a graffiti masterpiece or not, and tell me why. So not just yes or no, but you got to tell me the why part as well. When you are done with that, you can go ahead and submit this, and you are all done with art criticism number 1.